Hey, boys and girls. I thought maybe we'd have another story. And this one's titled One Winter's Day. And the author is M. Christina Butler. She wrote the words that I'm going to read to you today from the story. Now, this story has beautiful illustrations, pictures, so I want you to pay attention to the pictures and listen to the words. And it's a wonderful story about a little hedgehog and how kind, how nice he is to all of the friends he meets along the way. Here's the title page, One Winter's Day. He's outside, he's catching the snowflakes. Little Hedgehog was making his bed for the winter when a sudden gust of wind blew him off his feet. It took hold of his cozy nest and tossed it high into the air. His nest was the home he was making to shelter from all that cold, snowy air. Little Hedgehog trembled. That means he shook. He was so cold. Little Hedgehog trembled as the wind whistled around him, and he wondered what to do. He caught hold of his scarf, hat, and mittens before they blew away and tried to find shelter under the tree roots. But wherever he went, the wind blew there as well. I'll have to stay with Badger until this storm is gone, he said, pulling his woolly hat firmly over his prickles. Then he snuggled into his cozy scarf, put on his mittens, and with a deep breath, he set off. He's heading to his friend Badger's house because his house blew away in the storm. Look at the illustration. Here's Hedgehog. See the wind blowing those leaves and snow through the field. And here's some field mice, a mommy and her babies. And they look like they might be cold too, don't they? Let's read the words and see what they say. The wind was even stronger in the meadow. Leaves swirled here and there and snowflakes filled the air. Little Hedgehog hadn't gone far when he bumped into a family of field mice, shivering in the long grass. Shivering again means cold. And when you shiver, it's your muscles tightening and letting loose so that it warms your body up. When you shiver, it's your muscles trying to warm your body up. I've never known such a storm, squeaked Mother Mouse. The wind has blown our nest away, and my poor babies are so cold. My home is blown away as well, said Little Hedgehog. I'm on my way to stay with Badger, but I have just the thing to warm you up. And he took off his woolly hat, and he gave it to the mice. Oh, lovely, 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 they squeaked, snuggling down out of the wind. Thank you, Little Hedgehog. How kind of Hedgehog to take his hat that was keeping him warm and letting the field mice have it so they would be warm. And I love the way the field mice said thank you. When someone does something nice for us, we should always say thank you. This guy over here, he's an otter, and he loves the water. He's a sea otter. He loves to play in the water. But look at Otter. He's kind of got his hands cupped, and they're up by his mouth. Why do you think he's doing that? I hope you said because you think his paws are cold. Let's find out. We'll read the words. Little Hedgehog tucked his nose into his scarf and he ran along beside the racing river. That means the river water is moving really fast, racing, moving fast. Otter was on the bank, huffing and puffing on his paws. Can you do that? Take your hands and huff and puff on them. Can you feel the heat from your body coming out and warming up your hands? That's what Otter's trying to do to his paws. He's trying to warm them up. Hello, Otter, shouted Little Hedgehog. What are you doing? Oh, hello, Hedgehog, replied Otter. My fur coat keeps me warm, but my paws are freezing. Does little Hedgehog have anything that he might be willing to give to the otter to help warm up his paws? Hmm. Here, have these, said little Hedgehog, giving Otter his mittens. They should do the trick. Oh, thank you, little Hedgehog, said Otter. These are great, but shouldn't you be at home in this cold weather? I have no home anymore, little Hedgehog replied sadly. The wind is blowing it away. And running on, he cried, I'm going to stay with Badger. If you said he gave his mittens to the otter to warm up his paws, thumbs up. You did the right thing. You thought about it and you were right. By the time little Hedgehog reached the woods, the snow was getting deeper. On and on he struggled, picking his way between the snowdrifts as the wind howled around him. When the wind is howling, it means it's blowing really super hard. Look at his scarf. It's almost blowing right off of him, isn't it? A mother deer and her fawn, the baby deer, a fawn, were sheltering in the bushes. Oh, little Hedgehog, why aren't you in your nest in this awful storm? She asked. So little Hedgehog told Mother Deer about his nest blowing away. But as he spoke, he saw that the little fawn was shaking with cold, shivering or shaking. Here, take this, he said, giving the fawn his scarf. And the mommy deer said, oh, how kind you are. Thank you, little Hedgehog. Poor little Hedgehog. He's given up his hat and his mittens, and now his scarf to all the other animals in the field. On his way to Badger's house. Hoping he's not too far from Badger's. Oh, look at here. Little Hedgehog pattered on faster and faster. But just as he finally saw Badger's house at the bottom of the hill, he skidded on the icy path. Help! He cried as he went bumping and bouncing through the snow. Whoop, 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 whoop. Look at him. Can you see that? He looks like a little snowball, doesn't he? And I'm thinking, that's Badger's house. There's Badger. Can you see him? There's Badger. Badger was making tea when he heard a big thud outside. Whatever was that? He cried, dropping his toast. When he opened the door, a prickly snowball rolled in. Gracious me, he said in surprise. It's little Hedgehog. Badger carried little Hedgehog to an armchair by the fire and gave him a cup of tea. Little Hedgehog told Badger about his journey through the storm, and then, cozy and warm, he fell fast asleep. He was probably exhausted from that long trip through the woods. Little Hedgehog stayed with Badger until the storm had gone. As they walked to where his house had been, Little Hedgehog was very worried. How can I build a strong nest if all the leaves and the twigs have blown away and there's nothing left? He asked anxiously. I'll help you, said Badger kindly. We're nearly there now. Now let's look at this illustration. Look here. There's one of the little field mice. Remember the field mice? What did Badger, or what did the Hedgehog give to the field mice when he was on his way to Badger's house? Because they were shivering in the cold. You said his hat. You're right. Surprise! Came the cry when they turned the corner. Little Hedgehog gasped with delight The animals he'd met in the storm had made him the coziest nest he'd ever seen. For the kindness, for the kindest hedgehog in the world, they all cried together. There's the fawn, sea otter, the field mice, and they've built a beautiful new home for Hedgehog. And they've returned his hat, his mittens, and his scarf. The end. What a great little story about the kindness of animals in this story, but it's very reflective of the kindness of people in our lives too. And I know you all have people in your lives that are kind and helping you out along the way too. So, what a cute little story to have learned kindness is always appreciated. So, go spread kindness, be nice, enjoy, and we will see you back here soon.